so you know. All right, so for the benefit of those who do not know me, I am Simisola Arumolaron, a mom, educator, and of course, your lunch and learn host for today. I bring a background as an educator for over 20 years, and of course, being a mom, my daughter is a computer science and software engineering major at Baylor University. So, I feel I can as well tell you all about SEER parenting. Getting here has not been very smooth. I have overplanned, I have underprayed, but to the glory of God, here I am today. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. First of all, we're going to start off with an icebreaker. And if you can see my screen, I would like for you to share one word for your child's school year. One word that you're believing God for, you're praying for your child's school year. You can go ahead and say it aloud. You can unmute yourself, say it out loud, or of course, drop something in the chat. What is one word that you would use to describe what you're praying for, what you're believing God for, or what you're hoping for your child this school year? Can I get some responses in the chat? Put something in the chat, blot it out. This is an icebreaker just so that I can make sure there are people in here with me. One word. Let's see. I see Excel. Thank you. Any other person, one word that you are choosing to believe God for or praying for and hoping for your child for the school year. Excellence, excel. That's awesome. Any other one? I'll give it 30 seconds and we will continue on. Do I have any other person? All right, we're going to continue on. I see one other person. Leap. Awesome. Awesome. We definitely want our children to leap. We want them to succeed. We want them to be confident. We want them to grow and so on and so forth. So, again, thank you for joining. And we're going to go on and start. So, this is the SEER framework. And in this 45-minute session, you're going to discover the power of intentional parenting. By the end of this, you would know what the SEER framework is, and you should be able to create a personalized plan to support your child. I do have an handout that I will be dropping in the chat right now. I have a planner, I have an handout that I'm going to drop in the chat. You can follow along with those items. So here we go. I just dropped the planner and the handout in the chat. If you are able to open it, you can go ahead and just put a B in the chat just so I make sure it's working for someone. Anybody able to open the Google form, the handout? Just put a B in the chat. I just want to make sure that it's working for at least one person. Awesome. Let's see. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so let's continue on this afternoon. So, what is SEER? It's S-E-E-R. The acronym is a four-part framework that helps you as a parent guide your child with clarity and confidence. And the S in that acronym stands for set clear expectations. Before I go into that, for those that are familiar with me, you know that some earlier this year I wrote a book about about the SEER mother, and God has been giving me different inspirations. And so this is a four-part framework to help you. So the S in that acronym stands for setting clear expectations. And then the E in the acronym stands for engaging intentionally. The other E stands for encouraging resilience. And of course, the R in the SEER acronym stands for release in prayer. I believe as a Christian parent, these are things that you need to be able to help your child to thrive as they go on in the school year. So let's start off with the S, setting clear expectations. Academic achievement is actually a combination of parental involvement and the ability to communicate expectations. And I know this very well because when I was getting my master's degree in 2006, part of my seminar paper, actually the title of my seminar paper to qualify for my master's was parental involvement in children's education. And so research does suggest that if you want children to thrive, you must establish clear expectations because, for the most part, children thrive with structure and clarity. And so, in setting clear expectations, one of the first things you want to do is to make sure you establish routines for homework, for bedtime, for screen time. If you are very observant, you will find out that routines will help your child understand what to expect, and it also reduces anxiety, both on the part of parents as well as the children. It helps them to focus on learning rather than getting confused about what is next. So, if you are going to help your child thrive the school year, you need to set good routines. And good routines must be very flexible. There must be room for the children to make mistakes. So, for example, say you were setting expectations about establishing bedtime routine. The question is, what time is your child or are your children supposed to go to bed? When my child was younger, we knew for sure that Monday through Fridays, except for Tuesdays when we had midweek service in our local church, we knew for sure that bedtime was 8:30 p.m. And then we knew that on Tuesdays, bedtime was right as soon as we got home from the midweek service. We understood that she was going to read a book and pray, and then it was bedtime. So, the ability to set clear expectations by establishing routine, be it bedtime routine, be it homework routine, and all such things, it helps your child to know what to expect. So, let's say, for example, we're talking about homework. When do we get homework done? Do we come back from school and eat dinner? Do we come back from school and go play outside? Do we come back from school and get on the screen? What is the expectation? What is the routine, for example, for screen time during the week? Again, when my child was younger, we decided that there was no kind of screen time during the week. Mondays through Fridays, screen time started at the end of the school day on Friday after homework has been completed. And if it was a project, because as she moved up in grade level. There were times that she had projects, that she had to work on. And so we knew that we couldn't finish it on Friday. So we established that routine that if you have a project, your project will get started. You will complete at least a third of that project, and then there can be screen time. So establishing these kinds of routines will definitely help your children. They need to know when playtime is during school days, and you have to communicate your academic and behavioral expectations to your children. Behavioral expectations, for example, could include, don't run in the house. You don't want to use the word don't run in the house because you want to be positive when you are setting expectations. You really want to reframe it as something like, we do not run in the house because, you could have an accident. You want to try to use positive expectations when you are setting behavioral expectations. And when you are setting these expectations, you want to make sure that these expectations are very simple, especially if your children are very young. You don't want to give too many expectations. Otherwise, they are wondering, mommy said don't do this, daddy said don't do this, auntie said don't do this, grandma said don't do this, and they get really confused. So you want to keep those expectations very simple. So what am I saying? The second point there about setting clear expectations is to communicate your goals. What do you expect as far as their academics? What do you expect in behavior? For example, you might want to say, I don't know if there's a parent of a preschooler on the line, but you may want to ask questions such as, okay, um, green might be the highest score on a school day from their chart. You might want to say, Blue is acceptable, but anything below blue, such as a yellow or red, as a consequence. That is an example of setting a behavioral expectation. And whatever expectations you're setting, you also want to be a good role model. So, for example, we set expectations such as no screen time. But how about mom and dad? Are we constantly, so you tell the children, no screen time or limited screen time Mondays through Fridays, but every time they turn around to speak with you, you are on the screen. Maybe you are either on your phone, you're on a computer, you're on some kind of device, and you're scrolling. We want to be good role models. Adults should model the expected behaviors, and we want to stay calm whenever we are addressing challenges. If our children don't meet those expectations, you should not overreact. And then, of course, part of setting those clear expectations is to do some weekly check-ins. It could be at dinner time where you use family meetings to review some of these things and adjust as needed. What works for one family may not work for another family. So there are no rules. There are no rules that are set in stone. For example, I said when my child was younger, there was absolutely no screen time until Friday night. And bedtime also was a little extended on Friday night. So you need to know what works for your family. So if you have the handout, you want to write these things down, and there is an action there for you. You can create a 30-day school home routine. I hope everyone was able to access the handout. I'm going to, for the benefit of those that just joined, posting the handout again. I just posted the handout. When we started, we had about 7 people, and now I see that we're up to 18. So there is an handout that you can use to follow along. So we're talking about the S.E.E.R framework for school success, and the S there stands for setting clear expectations. Now let's go on to the first E. The first E there stands for engaging intentionally. I started to tell those that joined us earlier on that parental involvement is very critical to the success of our students. You want to present, you want to be present in their education. You want to be intentional about engaging with them. Parental presence fuels confidence. How do you do that? One of the ways you can do that is to attend school events, meet the teacher, check in on assignments, back to school night, parent teacher conferences, even school assemblies, so that you can stay informed about what is going on in your child's education as well as within the community. If possible, perhaps volunteer. Volunteer once in a while. Volunteer to chaperone the kids. You can sign up for those if time permits. And then another way to stay involved intentionally is to appreciate their teachers. Teacher Appreciation Week in the United States for this new school year is actually May 4th to 8th, 2026. That's a long time from now. Does that mean at Christmas you can't just buy cupcakes from Walmart and send it to the teacher? The issue is that you might say, well, is that supposed to be a bribe, or what does that even mean? It communicates to the teacher that you see them. And so when you are intentional about being present, attending events, talking with the teacher, communicating, volunteering, engaging in sports events and school performances, then you are telling the teacher that you are very, very invested in your child's education. And for preschoolers, one of the things you can do to stay engaged is to make sure that you go eat lunch with them. Find time, however little, during the first 9 weeks, at least once, go and eat lunch. It doesn't have to be both parents. Let someone in the family go and eat lunch with this child. By registering your presence, you are telling the child that you want to be there for them. You are also communicating something to their school administrators, the counselor, the classroom teacher. What you are saying to them is that you are heavily invested in your child's education. Another way to engage intentionally is to ask open-ended questions. Now, this will vary depending on the grade level of your children. If your child is pre-K, they are preschoolers, you want to ask open-ended questions such as, what was the funniest thing that happened today? You don't want to say, did you have fun at school today? Did you have fun at school today is very close-ended. Your child can answer yes or no. But when you ask questions such as, what was the funniest thing that happened in school today? Then you give your child an opportunity to say something. You are sparking a conversation. They want to talk more. And by so doing, you are intentionally checking in to make sure that everything is going on well. Because if your child responds and says, oh, the funniest thing that happened today is that, Jay, when he was about to sit in the cafeteria during lunchtime, I pulled a chair under him. Then you know that your child is going to get into trouble and you find a way to correct it. That is why these conversations are very, very critical. For like elementary age students, you could ask questions like, who did you sit with at lunch today and what did you talk about? If you ask that question in this way, did you sit with anybody at lunch today? It's a yes or no. No, yes. But if you say, who did you sit with at lunch today and what did you talk about? Again, this can reveal information about their social interaction. Maybe they are making friends, or maybe they are not making friends. Maybe they are beginning to have problems with their friends because, again, it becomes conversational. They reveal things that you do not already know. Or if you want to make sure that they are getting support in school, you could ask a question like, did anyone help you today in school? Did you help anyone today in school? And how did you help that person? And for middle school students, it even becomes more critical because this is the adolescent age and they have more challenges. And so when you ask questions, you want to help them to reflect on their positive experiences. An example of a question you can ask a school student is, what is one thing you're struggling with academically this week? You really don't want to say, are you struggling? Are you struggling again is yes, no, I'm not. But when you say, what is one thing you are struggling with academically, then the child can say, I really don't think I'm struggling, but they'll say something. So let's be very, 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 very intentional. You want to make sure that you are participating in their education by asking open-ended questions. And then, of course, you participate at home. When they get home, help them. Help them participate in their learning activities. I'm not saying do their work for them, but definitely guide them. Use school resources that have been provided. Encourage extracurricular activities, but limit the pressure that you put on the children. If you are signing up your children for extracurricular activities, there are some extracurricular activities that you do not want to compromise. For example, you want them to learn how to swim just because it is part of their social well-being. You don't want them to become adults and they go, or they are in college, they go to a place and they can't even enter the water. But there are some other activities that they may not really be interested in. So you really want them to be participants in making those decisions. And then, of course, you have to celebrate their successes. Your child comes home, maybe yesterday they were on yellow and today they moved up to green. You want to celebrate. Oh, you did really well today. This will boost their confidence. Or they just got a very good grade on a test. You want to celebrate it by giving them a high five. It doesn't have to be you breaking the bank. You could say, okay, if they are younger, you could say, oh, because you had such a good grade in math today, let's go ahead and bake a muffin. Find ways to celebrate their successes, and you want to make learning fun for them. There are many things they can learn on the go with things that you are doing in real life within your home. So one action that I would like everyone listening to me to take on engaging intentionally is to go ahead and choose 3 new conversation starters. How would you start conversations with your children this school year? Make a note on that handout. Choose 3 new conversation starters, depending on the grade level of your children. Remember, they have to be open-ended. Don't ask questions that are closed-ended, questions that are yes or no. All right, let's move on to the next E. The next E is about encouraging resilience. Resilience is that capacity to bounce back or recover quickly from difficulties. I will be a liar if I sat here and I told you that everything is going to go smoothly. They would not have challenges. In fact, they have to be able to adjust readily. The very fact that some of them are just going to school for the first time is a huge transition. And some of them moving from one grade level to another is another transition. So the ability for them to withstand all of these pressures and challenges and bounce back from these setbacks, both mentally and emotionally, is what is called resilience. And every setback, you have to communicate this clearly, is a setup for growth. Help them to normalize mistakes. Mistakes happen. Don't let them feel like mistakes are the end of the world. And of course, when they make mistakes, you want to model solutions and you want to celebrate their efforts. Celebrate their efforts. I'm going to show a couple of videos, and I have a resource page at the end of this. I'm going to show a couple of videos that you can use to teach them about growth mindset, about grit, about encouraging resilience. For example, there is this video that I like very much. It's 1 minute. It's about a child that never gave up, and it's very short. Just watch this child. All right. Did we notice that this team, that the boy in red, initially the team was losing, but because of that boy's resilience, he fell down, he got back up again. Their team ended up winning. These are short videos that you can show your children if they are having challenges. Help them, encourage them that they can bounce back. I have yet another video that talks about grit, which is very key to their success. Like I said, I have a resource page at the end of all of this. This is also a 2-minute video.
This is a story about grit and why it might just be the key to your success. So what the heck is grit? Well, officially it's the combination of persistence and resilience. Big words, huh? Persistence means you keep going even when the going gets tough, and you stay focused on the task without getting distracted. Resilience is toughness. When you get knocked down, you bounce back up and try again. When you have both of these qualities, we call that grit. And once you have grit, you can learn anything. But why is grit so important to learning? Because when things are easy and you're coasting along, it's nice. It might even be fun for a while, but you're not learning. Learning comes from struggle, from trying and failing, then learning from your mistakes. Remember when you first learned to ride a bike? Or swim? Or play an instrument? Or do long division? It seems impossible at first, and if you gave up after the first try, it would be. But you're persistent. You keep trying. You start to get the hang of it. You practice. You work at it a little bit at a time, and eventually it starts to get easier for you. You learn from your mistakes, and the more you work, the easier it gets. But remember, learning is hard work. That's why you need grit. Because the key to success in school and life is how you react when things don't go your way. So the next time you're struggling with something in your life, or in your science book, just remember, it's part of learning. And with a little hard work and a lot of grit, you can do things that once seemed impossible.
All right, so those are some of the things that you can show them to normalize mistakes and to model solutions, and of course, to celebrate effort. So, again, in your handouts, I want you to write a resilience phrase for tough days that you can use to help your child. It doesn't matter what grade level, even college age students, they have their struggles. High school students, middle school students, elementary school students, these are things that you want to share with them depending on what their age is. So that was E for encouraging resilience. And then the R is release in prayer. Again, we cannot do this journey on our own. The truth is that maybe you like it or not, you need God to get you through this journey. And so it is very essential for you to always release your children in prayer. When our child was younger, even now, when she was in K through 12, every morning, whoever took her to school sent her off with laying on of hands, because for whatever reasons she never rode the school bus, either because we did a school transfer, or she never rode a school bus anyways. So, but even for the children that ride school buses, you get them to the bus station, lay your hands upon them, cover them in prayer, speak blessings over them, speak blessings over them. It's also very critical for you to share devotionals. A lot of times we think we don't have time, but you have to make time. Everybody has 24 hours in a day, and except you make time, you would never have time. So, sitting down with your children, whatever works best for your family, going through a devotional can be very helpful. It can be the difference between them getting into trouble at school the following day if you did your devotional at night or in the morning. It can make a difference, because assuming in your devotional you talked about not being mean to people, and the following day maybe you did it at night, nighttime it works best for your family, and the following day they get to school, and they find themselves in a situation where they have the opportunity to be mean. The fact that they have just listened to that devotional is a strong reminder that they need to walk in the way of the Lord. So, releasing your children in prayer includes covering them in prayer, either through your family altar, praying, joining a prayer group, praying for your children, speaking blessings over them as they go. I remember, my husband, even up till now, there is a way that it pronounces so much blessings on our daughter that you will be wondering that, what are you looking for? I remember one year he continued to say, "You are the best, you are the best, you are the best, you are the best." And then she took the STAR test and she got hundreds in all of the courses, and she got that presidential award at the time. So what I'm saying here is that what you say to your children would happen to them, because life and death are in the power of the tongue. So you need to speak blessings over them. Make sure you are sharing the word of God with them. Look for the times that work best for you, for your family. And by so doing, you will be releasing them in prayer. So for those that are just joining us, I'm just going to go back a little bit just so that you can see what the S.E.E.R framework is. The first one is set clear expectations, and you can do that through establishing routines, communicating goals, and checking in. And then, of course, engaging intentionally, participating at home, asking open ended questions. Be very mindful of the way you ask your questions so that you can actually spark a conversation rather than yes or no answers. And then, of course, we just talked about encouraging resilience, because everyone experiences some challenges of some sort. And if you do not encourage resilience, they won't be able to easily bounce back. It is important for them that when something happens, a mistake, a failure, it's very important for them to be able to bounce back, even if it's in their extracurricular activities. It may not even be academic. Let's say, for example, their team did not win a football a game, maybe basketball. You want to be able to teach them that there are some times that they win and there are some times that they actually learn. They are not necessarily losing, they are learning. There is an audible version of the kids book for sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And I'm going to show you that audible version just because we have some time before we get into question and answers. I want to quickly share the audible version of sometimes you win and sometimes you learn with you for these children. So this is the audible version. It's, you can try it on Amazon. You can go to, if you Google it, you can find it in several places, and you can read it aloud just so that for the children that are very competitive, they understand that at times when their team loses, they are not really losing. There are lessons to learn from the loss, and they shouldn't be downtrodden just because they didn't win the game. So these are some of the things that you do to help them bounce back, to help them stay resilient. And again, I believe there's another video that I didn't show you. Some of you may have seen it before. It's a video that reminds them that they can learn anything. There is a 1 minute version, there is a 5 minute version, but I'll show this real quick before we get into questions and answers.
Nobody's born smart. We all start at zero. Can't talk, can't walk, certainly can't do algebra. Adding, reading, writing, riding a bike? Nobody's good at anything at first. There was a time when Einstein couldn't count to 10. And Shakespeare had to learn his ABCs just like the rest of us. Thankfully, we're born to learn. Slowly, surely, you stumble, slip, crawl, fall, and fail and fall. Frustrating, confusing, trying, struggling, until one day, you walk. One foot in front of the other, one idea on top of the next, each wrong answer making your brain a little bit stronger. Failing is just another word for growing, and you keep going. This is learning. Knowing that you'll get it, even if you haven't gotten it yet. Because the most beautiful, complex concepts in the whole universe are built on basic ideas that anyone, anywhere, can understand. Whoever you are, wherever you are, you only have to know one thing. You can learn anything.
Honestly, this video is one that even encourages me, even me at my age, because just knowing that we all started at zero, as in nobody was born knowing how to ride their bikes, nobody was born knowing how to tie their shoelaces. We all started at zero. Just bringing down these kinds of concepts to your child's level can be very encouraging to them. It can help them. It can help them to bounce back from failures. It can help them to avoid feeling bad about things that they cannot do yet. I love the power of the word yet. So when your child comes to you and says, "Oh, mommy, there was this project at school, or there was this task at school, I just couldn't get mine done," just rephrase it and tell them you couldn't get it done yet, because anyone can learn anything. So those are the kinds of things that you want to share with them to encourage resilience. So with that being said, I have been able to cover the S.E.E.R framework, and I would like for someone to tell us what the S stands for. I'm an educator and I love to check for understanding. So what does the S stand for? Anybody? You can type it in the
Set clear
chat.
expectations.
Pardon me?
Set clear expectations.
Thank you. What about the first E? Anyone? Just so that I make sure we're following along. You have your handouts. I'm going to share that handout in the chat again. Engage intentionally. Let me share the handout in the chat again for those that just joined us. Okay, so engage intentionally was the first E. How about the second E? Anybody has an idea? The second E. You can unmute yourself. I want to share the encourage resilience. Thank you. All right. I want to share that handout again for the benefit of those that just joined in. I'm trying to find that handout. I'm going to share it in a second. Just give me a second here. I'm going to share that in the chat again. And then, of course, the R we said is release
Release them in
them
prayer.
in prayer. So I hope that this S.E.E.R framework is something that is very simple and yet you can use no matter the level or grade level that your child is in. So, looking at your handout, which of the S.E.E.R habits do you practice well? I want you to take a moment to reflect, because some of those things are not new to many of us. So it might just be a reinforcement. So which of this S.E.E.R habit do you practice well? Do you practice setting clear expectations very well? Do you practice releasing them in prayers very well, but you don't engage intentionally? So you need to reflect and ask yourself, which one of these needs more focus from your end in your family? Many of us are very good at praying. We release them in prayers, but we've never set clear expectation. We've never told them, look, this is what I expect of you. This is our bedtime routine. This is screen time routine. This is homework routine. And like I said, routines help children from being anxious. It helps them to have clear expectations. So think about it. This is your reflection and application time. Which of these habits have you been practicing well? Which one do you think you need more to focus more on? And then, of course, what is your next intentional step? We talked about engaging intentionally. We talked about, being involved in their schooling, asking questions, and so on and so forth. So take a minute, reflect on this, and then in closing, I want us to say some things together. I want us to make these declarations together. Just because you are your child's first teacher, somebody said something in the chat, release them in prayer. Thank you. So you are your child's first teacher, you are their advocate, and you are their intercessor. So, as you go forward with this grace and confidence and bold faith, I want us to declare the following together. Number one, I want you to say this school year is going to be great for my children. Let's go. 1, 2, go. This school
This
year
school
is
year is
going
going
to
to
It's
be
going to
be
be
great for
great
my
for
great
my
for my
children.
My
children.
children in Jesus'
children.
name.
Number
Amen.
2, my children are overcomers. They
My,
overcome every
My
challenge of this
children
school
are
year.
Are
overcomers.
my
They overcome
overcomers.
every
children are
challenge
overcomers.
this
They
this
overcome
school
every
year in Jesus' name.
challenge they
Amen.
experience.
My children soar in this school year because the greater one lives inside of them.
My
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 children soar in
children
children
this school
soar
year
in
in
the
this
because
school
greater
school
year
one
because
lives
the
inside
greater
of
one
them.
living
lives
inside of
inside
them.
of them. Because the
My
greater one lives
children
inside of them.
are taught of the Lord, and great is their peace in the school year.
My
My children are taught
children
of
are
Thought of the
taught
God.
of
Lord.
the
Great
Lord,
peace
and
is
great
being
is
their
their
portion
peace
in
in
this
the
great
school
school
year.
year.
Goodness, mercy, and favor follow my children throughout the school year.
Goodness,
Goodness,
mercy, and favor
mercy
follow
follow
my
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 children
children
children throughout
throughout the
this
through
school
school
the
year.
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 Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, does anyone have any questions at all? Any questions as we wrap up here? I know it's lunchtime for most people. You probably pushed out your lunch just so that you can join us. I appreciate you joining us, but does anyone have any questions? Whilst I'm waiting on questions, this is a resource link for academic, emotional, and spiritual growth. One has the Amazon link to the book, Sometime You Win, Sometime You Learn for kids. It has the ones for teenagers. It has those videos. It has the planners. So I can go ahead and copy this link in the chat. Give me a minute here. I'm going to put it in the chat soon. But this is coming up soon. It's titled From Invisible to Invincible. You know, many children lack self-confidence and they begin to feel invisible within their classroom. And if you want your child to go from being invisible to invincible, you want them to be partakers in this confidence reset workshop. So if you'd like to enroll your children, you can email at simisola@simibridge.com. I appreciate you joining us this afternoon. If it has blessed you in any way, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your feedback so that I can continue to serve with purpose and clarity. And so, if you'd like to take a moment to share one thing you gained or were inspired by today, here is the QR code that you can use. If it blessed you or helped you in any way, I'd love to hear from you. So go ahead, scan the QR code, give us feedback, and thank you so, so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here this afternoon. Any questions? We have 2 minutes to go. Please leave your feedback, and I appreciate you coming. We have about 2 minutes to go. Well, if there are no questions, again, I said I was going to post the link to I was going to post the link to those resources on the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and I think this one is for the QR code. I'm going to stop sharing. I want to post the link to the resources page before people get out of here. And feel free to use the resources. They are very helpful, and I pray that the Almighty God would help every one of our children to succeed this school year and beyond in the mighty name of Jesus. I'm posting the
Amen.
link. Give me a second here to the resources. I'm going to post it in the chat. And thank you again for joining me and have a great rest of your day. I don't think he posted well. Okay, he did. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your day and thank you for attending this lunch and learn. It's been a pleasure talking to you. God bless you.
Thank you.